Welcome to r/Reddit Revenge. This is a story of someone getting back at someone with revenge after being wronged. Thank you, friends, for subscribing to the channel and for so many likes. The first story. I prioritize safety, especially when my hourly wage contrasts with my salaried boss's disregard. The second story. OP strategically bought up the entire stock of a critical item, leading to their competitors' costly downfall and removal from the approved contractors list. The third story. Discovered ex's multiple infidelity, ensured he had no safe haven with friends or family. Today's first story is the last time I ever got truck washing duty. So I used to work as a delivery driver for a furniture retailer, and it was actually a pretty okay job, if you like heavy lifting, of course, except for my manager Brown Noser. Now, Brown Noser, BN for short, was about 19, not all that bright, and got to his position as warehouse manager by kissing massive amounts of A. I was a few months older than him, and had been there for a year or so, maybe a bit less. But point is, I was one of the more senior guys on the delivery staff. So one fine day, my truck went out, did its deliveries, and was back by about 1 p.m. We started at 8, and usually went to 4 to 5 for reference. I was looking forward to going home a bit early, but BN had different plans for me. What's important to remember in what follows is that BN was a salaried worker, and I had an hourly wage. I finished loading up my truck for the next day, and I'm just walking to the punch clock to punch out for the day, when I hear his nasally voice. BN, hey bedfellow, hold on a sec. Me, what is it, BN? BN, I need you to go out and wash your truck. It's dirty and that doesn't reflect well on the company. Me, you best be joking.png. BN, come on, chop chop. I'm not paying you to stand around. Me, you don't pay me, SH. I had no respect for this guy and he and I both knew it. But I got SH done, so the higher-ups weren't about to get rid of me. BN, yeah, well, that can change if you don't do what I say. Here's what you'll need to wash it. The pressure washer's outside. BN hands me things like company-made bottles of glass cleaner, leather polish for the dashboard, industrial soap, basic truck cleaning stuff. Me, whoa, hey now, I've never used this stuff before, and I've seen these WHMIS symbols before. I'm gonna need to have a look at the MSDS sheets for all these supplies. BN, dude, no, it's glass cleaner and soap. It's in literally every household. Just go do what I tell you. Me, no, I have the right to refuse unsafe work, and until I fully understand the hazards that these materials present and have all the necessary PPE, personal protective equipment, I don't feel safe using these products. BN, stop being dumb. Just go do it. Me, this is in direct violation of occupational health and safety guidelines, and if forced to proceed, I'll be lodging a formal complaint, both with OH&S as well as Big Boss Man. At this point, BN knows he's defeated, but I'm still just warming up. BN, fine, the sheets are this way. He takes me to the room with the MSDS sheets, where I spend the next 15 minutes perusing the sheets, asking inane questions just to make sure he doesn't leave. Remember, I'm getting paid by the hour. He isn't. Me, well, these supplies have the potential to cause skin and eye irritation, and this other cleaner needs to be used in a well-ventilated area. I'm gonna require PPE to protect against these hazards. Cue half an hour of BN and I rooting around the warehouse looking for rubber gloves that came past my elbows, a thick rubber apron, rubber boots, a plastic face shield, safety goggles, and a respirator. Pretty much this stuff plus a respirator, but it wasn't all in one convenient location like this. Of course. I don all the safety gear. BN is visibly agitated. BN, you look like an idiot, I hope you know that. Me, I look like a safe idiot. I'm alright with that. BN, alright, now will you go wash the truck? Me, I've never used the pressure washer before. I'm gonna need to be fully trained on that before I operate it. BN, there's an on button, 3 power settings and a trigger. A 4-year-old could work it. Me, I don't feel safe using it until I've been properly trained in its operation. I could hurt myself. If looks could kill, I would be dead. But luckily I'm protected from his acid gaze by my PPE. Seriously, I'm effing immortal under all this SH. We head out to the pressure washer and I make him go over everything in excruciating detail. Again, I question everything. If there's a kink in the hose, could the machine rupture? What if it ruptures? This is a gas-powered washer. What if gas spills? I'll need a fire extinguisher. This takes almost 20 minutes. We also have to go find the aforementioned fire extinguisher. At this point, we're about an hour and 15 minutes into this, and I haven't even started washing the truck. Me, Oh hey BN, before you go, you'll need to show me how to use all these chemical cleaners. I read the MSDS sheets, but I still don't know how to properly use them. BN pretty much watches half the interior of the truck. No PPE, of course, with me asking ever more questions. Me, alright, I think I feel ready to do this now. BN, finally, a-hole. Me, I take my safety seriously and you should too. BN storms off, muttering under his breath. I proceed to take 10 minutes wiping down the truck, and another 5 rinsing it clean. I go into BN's office. Me, alright, I'm done. BN, that was fast. Me, it was a pretty easy job. Here's all the PPE back. Thanks for being understanding concerning my safety. I drop the PPE in a pile on his carpeted floor. It was covered in the mud from the exterior of the truck. Me, I think I'm gonna take off now. Have a good night, BN. He didn't reply. He just looked like he wanted to cry. I left a little after 3 p.m. that day, having wasted almost 2 hours of BN's time. I found out the next day that he didn't leave till 7 that night. I was never asked to wash the trucks again. You're a great master at making the best of any situation, and at the same time buying time for yourself. At first, Brown Noser BN tried to cheat you, but you proved to be more intelligent and knowledgeable about employee rights. Your insistence on safety and proper preparation for the job was remarkable. You took the time to review MSDS sheets and find the right PPE, personal protective equipment, and then you went over every detail of the chemical handling. When you indicated that you were ready to start working, BN was probably ready to give anything to get rid of you. Your situational awareness was simply outstanding. This story is a great example of how compliance and safety can be a real fun situation. You dealt with an annoying manager and impressed me with your courage and willingness to defend your interests. Thank you for this hilarious narrative. The next story is dealing with a dodgy competitor. So I work in the construction industry as a project manager, and have recently had to deal with a competitor who would cut corners and do shady dealings to get contracts. He would do things like providing kickback to other managers, money exchanging hands, or use standover tactics to get what he wanted. You could go as far as saying he was an all-around bad egg. So earlier in the year, I had put in all the hard yards into designing a specification for a job and going through design meetings with a client. We lost the project at the last minute due to the shady tactics listed above. Now, because of the work and the level of detail I had put in prior to losing the contract, I knew there was certain items the client wouldn't budge on. One of these non-negotiables only came from one supplier in the world, even though it was only worth a couple of cents per item. The client wouldn't budge on an alternative. So in my pettiness, I called the supplier and ordered all 15,000 of these they had in stock. I also called every other stockist on their website and managed to source a further 5,000, leaving no stock available until late December. So anyways, let's fast forward to this week. The job is close to handover stage, and the competition has done the predictable thing and deviated due to the supply issue. The client came out to inspect and notices they've used an alternative product without approval, and has deviated from the contractual agreement. This has now led to massive amounts of rectification work and them being hit with liquidated damage, as the project will now not be delivered on time, costing him close to 300k AUD. The competitor has now been removed from the approved contractors list within my industry, and have been escorted from the facility to never return. Not knowing I have 20,000 of this item stashed in my office, and it was me that caused the supply issue. Individuals who are fixated on cutting costs often don't seem to realize the extent to which they're sacrificing quality in the process. As a result, they initially opt for inexpensive subpar products, only to later discard them and purchase the items they were originally advised to get. By ordering all available copies of the required product, you've demonstrated your readiness to protect your client's interests and ensure that the contract is properly executed. Your action led to a competitor taking the wrong path by using an alternative product without consent, resulting in a significant financial and reputational losses. This punished the unfair competitor and led to a remedy. It would have been interesting to see the look on your competitor's face when he saw that he would have to answer for his actions to the customer and suffer a loss of 300,000 AUD because of a supply issue that you had hidden. The third story is cheater gets what they deserve. The male in this story I'd known for over a decade. I knew him, I knew all of his friends, I knew his family. It was a small town. He was always the one who got away in high school. My what-if guy, if you will. Well, a few years back, I got my chance at what if. He'd reached out, we reconnected, and he moved in within a couple months of us dating. Legit packed his stuff in the car and traveled across country to move in with me. I helped him get 2 different jobs through my friends, both pretty good paying fun jobs, plus what he got from the VA monthly. He should have had plenty of cash. Instead of paying rent, utilities, or even groceries, he bought devil's lettuce. I'm fine with the devil's lettuce even though I'm allergic to it, but he was spending $400 a week on it and didn't have any money for the bills. For 4 months, I let this go. I had several sit-downs with him trying to get him on track to at least paying some bills, but he was always a charmer. Smooth-talked his way out of it. Finally, Christmas. He wanted to spend Christmas in our hometown with his family. Totally fine. Go, have fun, be safe, whatever. He said he'd be home the next day around 8 p.m. It's a 4-hour drive one way. Totally accomplishable. I've made that drive many times. Because I'd wanted to have yet another talk with him about paying bills, and it was important that he be home early enough to talk. 8 p.m. rolls around, he still isn't here. Then 9. 9:30, I start texting him asking where he is, etc. He finally texts and says he got lost leaving town and drove the wrong way for 2 hours, had no signal and was on his way now. For context, there's 2 roads out of our hometown. He did not get lost. No signal, I could buy that, but he didn't get lost. He used to walk around town in high school. He was ex-army. He's an idiot, but he's not stupid if you get my drift. Finally, at 11:30 p.m., he still isn't home. Not responding to texts, nothing. I sent him a long text about how I was done. I've tried, but I was done putting up with the BS and the lies and paying his bills. I packed up everything, including the Christmas gifts I'd gotten him, and put it in the living room. I even provided him a pillow and a blanket to sleep on the couch. I didn't kick him out, but told him he needed to find a new place to stay, and locked my bedroom door to go to bed before he got home. He packed up most of his things, left a few others. Stole a pillow he'd gotten me as a gift off my bed, but left his pet turtle behind. He left a note saying he'd be back for the rest of his stuff. I sent him a text saying if he paid me $1,000 for all the back rent and bills by the 1st, way less than what was actually owed, then he could have the rest of his stuff. He blocked me. So I started going through his stuff and giving it away, donating it, etc. Made sure his turtle went to a herpetologist to be well cared for. During this process, I found out that he'd been telling his coworkers that we were in an open relationship, and he'd been sleeping with anyone who'd believe him. Quite a few didn't, as they knew me fairly well. Once I learned that juicy little tidbit, I decided some phone calls were in order. If you remember, I knew his friends, his family, all since high school. I knew them very well. I didn't keep up with them much, but once he and I were dating, some of the friendships rekindled. I knew exactly where he was living, too. First phone call was to his sister, who's a wonderful person, and I've always thought she was awesome. He'd said some very unkind things about her bedroom activities behind closed doors. I decided to open that door for her. Got him banned from her house permanently, and in the process found out his own parents had banned him from their house for being a D at Christmas. Next phone call was to the friends he was staying with. Told him everything my now ex had done, how he had behaved, and basically told him if he kept letting him stay to be careful and be prepared. My ex was kicked out a week later. Now, I can't speak to whether it was directly caused by his now homelessness, but I will say in the 3 years following, my ex had been arrested for family violence, prohibited substances, DUI, and several other things. It also looked like he'd gained 100 pounds in the mugshots too, which was excellent considering he was always very proud of his body. Nothing wrong weighing a little more, but considering he could talk for hours about his abs while we were together, it definitely made me happy knowing he lost them. I haven't checked the jail records in quite a while, but anytime I got sad or lonely while I was single, it was always a nice pick-me-up. This is an excellent short story. Karma can be quite unforgiving, and he got what was coming to him. Kudos to you for enduring it for so long and ensuring that others didn't experience the same fate. He seemed to attract mishaps based on what you've described. Keep up the good work, and may your stories continue to add comedy and interesting twists to your life. But of course, without the weird dudes. Subscribe, click the like button if you want to support the channel. Thank you for watching.